Hi class, so today we are taking a look at step 2 of evaluating sources. Specifically, this video will focus on the rejected source. Remember, this is a separate component, so it's not graded along with the journal entries. Each of these 3 evaluations will be graded, and you can get 3 points for each one, even the reject, which is a little bit a shorter one. You'll find a source of this document here. You'll see my copy as well, and the cover page has all 3 that you need to do. Maybe one time we'll print these out and have you do them on paper instead. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun? But for this time, if it's digital, you can also make a copy of this page, share it with me through Google Classroom or email, and you will actually be using a lot of this in your final steps. So we're getting there. Let's take a look. So number 1, a rejected source. Why do I need to reject a source? Why can't I just use the first one that I find? I found a good source. It's going to be, well, number 1, you're not likely to marry the first person that you date. You're not likely to retire from the first very job that you ever have. And also in research, you're going to find a lot of garbage. And in life, you're going to find a lot of things that are not that valuable. They're very limited. So you need to be able to discern what's valuable to me and what's not. So, for example, we found that there's a couple of sources that if you just, for example, type in your result, you'll find on the Gale database, but they might not be useful for you. They might be the wrong time period. They might be too vague. They might be about something that's not really your research topic. If you're looking for revolutions and you find about the government that could be useful, might be useful, you need to see, and vice versa. So, for example, this is an article that I found first when I was looking further on South Africa, right? I'm doing South Africa. I'm looking for the time period. Ooh, 19th century. This looks like it's the right time period. But when I went through and started reading this, I noticed that this article doesn't really deal with South Africa specifically, but about the scramble for Africa in general. It's got some parts about South Africa, but it's got parts about other parts of Africa. So, right, yes, this is maybe good for greater context of my research, but it's not specific enough. It's going to lead to generalizations, and specifically if I'm looking for South Africa and I'm using research information on other countries, this is going to lead to misconceptions about South Africa as I use information about the wrong country. So, right, there is some information here that's very useful. In the next video, you'll be like, aha, even the rejects can lead me on the right path, right? This is an important part of historical inquiry. Even if you find a source that's limited, you will find a way of refining your inquiry. Even if you find a source that you reject, you will probably find keywords or even authors that lead you to sources that are going to be very valuable. So there's lots of importance in these rejected sources. But this is great. But if you're sitting there saying, are these 12 sentences enough for a source? The answer is no. The answer is you got to be diving into deeper research here. And again, you want to go back to your research prompt. You want to go back to what is your goal? Why are you doing this research? So the goal should drive if you accept or reject these different sources. So then, what does a rejected source look like? Well, number 1, save it to Noodle Tools anyway, because you might find that later on, as you are going through your sources, you might want to even come back to your rejected sources, but label it appropriately, right? So I kept my rejected source here. I kept Africa history during the colonial period, even though I'm not going to use it. So sometimes you want to keep these. You might want to distinguish which ones you keep and which ones you reject, but that's up to you. And what a rejected sample looks like is you want to state your research topic. You want to state your research question. This is something that you put down in your first journal entry. You want to put down the source title. You can copy and paste the source title in from the place that you found it. And you want to check if it's a primary, secondary, or academic journal, tertiary source. But all you need to do for the rejected example, besides from learn from it and know how to find a better document, is you want to write down why you're rejecting this source. You don't need to do the OPCVL or the perspective or other questions. You might want to do this just for yourself. But you can stop after this port here. So like I said, I'm rejecting this source because, yes, it has valuable context, but it doesn't give enough information about South Africa. It leads you to maybe misconstrue or mix events in other African countries with South Africa. Right? I want to study the origins of the South African apartheid government, so I'm not really looking for all these other countries and their history. So that's all you need to do for the rejected source. It's worth 3 points, and then don't forget to share it. So hopefully this video showed you a little bit about the rejected sources. Let us know what questions you have.